I've been in the motor trade for all of my life, and I spent a long time working for the AA, which was the Automobile Association of the UK, and I have done thousands of diagnostics, roadside breakdowns, really immersed in the real world of cars going wrong, which was a great grounding for me to start my own business and deal with a lot of breakdowns and diagnostics. So I'm going to put together a series of videos helping you diagnose and develop the skills and the tools to do that job well and efficiently, and save yourself time and scratching heads, and saves you wasting money and saves wasting the customer's money. Not a big fan of massive long videos, as you've probably guessed by now, so I'm going to cut these things into short steps, simple rules one by one, and I'll segment them into different videos so that you can look at each one individually as a standalone video. And this is just an introduction to tell you how I'm going to go about it. And we're going to start with the first thing that you're going to be dealing with, and that is the actual complaint. When somebody says to you something's wrong with their car, there's a way to approach it before you even start looking at the car, before you even start getting your tools out. So you've got to set your stall out early, start as you mean to go on. So when somebody says to you there's something wrong with their car, what you're doing from that moment onwards is gathering evidence. You're finding out what could be wrong with this car. So that, first of all, involves listening. You may have your head full of ideas of what it might be already, and you might switch off to what the person's saying. You might have your head in the last job you were just doing. You might have all sorts of things going on. So that's the first thing you've got to do, is listen to what the person's telling you. And if you listen to what the person who drives the car is telling you, they will tell you what's wrong with the car. That's a really good rule to stick with. Don't assume you automatically know best. They will tell you. If you learn to listen, you will find out what's going on with the car pretty much from just asking the right questions and listening with your brain, not just standing there nodding in the right places. Exactly the same as any diagnostic tool. When you use a diagnostic tool, you've got to be able to interpret the information the diagnostic tool is giving you. The diagnostic tool, the best diagnostic tool you've got, is the driver. Speak to them, ask them the right questions, and you will get yourself to the center of the problem, and you save yourself a lot of time. So that's the best rule. Set your stall out early. Get yourself ready to receive the evidence of what's going on. Listen to what the situation is, what the fault is. Be ready to be wrong. It's another great rule. When you're gathering that evidence and you start thinking, oh, I reckon it's the fuel pump, be ready to be wrong about that. Start trying to disprove your idea. Don't go, I reckon it's fuel pump, I'm a genius, I can fix this from now, and go straight to the fuel pump. You've got to be ready to backtrack. Sometimes you don't need to check out these things that you've initially thought. So yeah, another good rule, be ready to be wrong. So that's pretty much the first step. Set your stall out early, get yourself in the right mindset, speak to the driver, use your diagnostic equipment well. I'll talk about some of the diagnostic equipment besides scanners and what have you, and build up a body of evidence before you even start tearing the car apart. That's a really great way to start. And so in the next video we'll establish what type of faults there are with cars. They generally fall into about 4 categories of fault. And in the next video we'll be looking at those and discussing how they can be identified and how you approach each category. So stay tuned.